Welcome into the Hustle Show podcast. Week 0 college football is here. A little Vegas recap, NFL as well. I am Drew Martin, joined by Kelly Stewart, Adam Trigger, and Chris Thurston at CTBet16 on Twitter. Right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Please smash that like button and please comment below. Let us know what you want to hear this year, what you're looking to bet, where you agree, where you disagree. We are sponsored by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Just a quick shout out to our friends at Viva Tequila Seltzer, the ultimate go-to for toasting those winning picks with only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 4.5% ABV. Viva, the perfect match for celebrating these victories. CT Bets bringing the heat with his. Kelly Stewart as well. Kelly coming to us from Las Vegas, Nevada. As you can hear in my voice, still a little bit hungover from last week. Kelly, welcome into the show. How you feeling from the Las Vegas, Nevada area?
Well, I finally drugged myself last night and took 2 Unisom. So I got more than 3 hours of sleep in one 24-hour period. I might feel alive again, maybe. Help me get through this radio weekend here at Circa. Excited to catch up with a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time. God, I'm so glad you guys are not here. I mean, what an insane, what was it, 72 hours even? Was it even that long?
About that. Yeah, I think it was longer.
It was longer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I've actually been
well,
here a week, and
I went to Utah for like a full day, so I had a longer trip. So
Trick hated Vegas so much he just got in a car and drove to Utah.
I'm not even joking. It might have been the best part of the whole weekend. I'm not even joking. It might have been my highlight of my weekend.
Kind of like a backhanded slap there from Adam Trigger at Top Flight SI, wagertalk.com. Trig, what are your thoughts on the weekend?
Oh, I mean, the weekend was great. We just joke about how much Vegas sucks because it does, but it's there's no place I'd rather be than hang out with you guys. Wouldn't matter if, we could be in a third world country. We could be on Mars. It doesn't matter. As long as I'm getting to chill with you guys and bet sports, it's all that matters. But my drive was relaxing. It was. By myself all the way to Salt Lake City, went and saw a baseball game, and then sat in the airport for 8 hours until my flight. So it was a good time.
His new nickname is AAA Trig, in case anybody wanted to know.
If you see me if you see me extra fidgety during the show, even more so than usual, it's because I'm betting on AAA baseball. Just fair warning.
Oh, thank God.
MILB there for Trig. It looked like pretty pictures there, especially coming from Vegas. It wasn't nice weather, which is really weird. Vegas always has good weather, at least the times that I've been there. But CT Bet 16, a guy that has a love-hate relationship with Las Vegas, Nevada. Chris Thurston, welcome on in, buddy.
Drew, I'm doing well. I agree with Kelly. I couldn't be happier that I'm not in Vegas with her anymore. But we had a great time. It was a great 3 days. It was great to see everybody. My favorite night was Thursday night, the first night we got there. And Brian Power, sometimes a host on the show, gave out a 5% play on the Dodgers. My good friend Joe Ranieri liked it as well. And Joe and I banged it. And we went to Andiamo Steakhouse, and we were watching it on the little iPhone as we're sitting there having steak. Ended up winning, and we go to, or it's 0-0 after we're done with dinner, and we go to the bar in the middle of the D. I don't even know. We're the loudest people there. And as we go up to order around the drinks, the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead. We start going nuts. It was a great time. That was the kind of the highlight for CT. After that, it was downhill, getting drunk, playing blackjack, losing a ton of money. But it was a lot of fun, and it's football season, Drew. It's week 0. I don't know why they say week 0, but I don't care because we got football to bet on and football to watch, and it's season 3. The 4 of us are back, so great to be here.
I'm excited, man. Week 0, I'm not sure why. I guess there's not as many games, but I second your thoughts here. We got Jay Buck in the house. Welcome on in. Jay Buff as well. Good talking with you, Jay Buff. Raid in the house. And Mark Zeno is here, and he's saying his What's up, Mark? He's saying his voice is shot as well. Yeah, as I said, you can probably hear it in my. Did we all get like the same thing? Are you guys having trouble with your voice
Yeah,
too?
it's called the Vegas flu. It's called we drank 4,000 Vivas, 84 bottles of red wine, did not sleep, and we're in a cesspool. Have you seen this place? It's disgusting. Every door handle, every elevator button, every sidewalk. I took a walk this morning to get out of the hotel and get breakfast. I literally started dry heaving. Like, I mean,
and that's at
somebody
the
has got
nice
to do a better
places.
job.
That's at the nice
Somebody has
places
got to
out
do a
there.
better
We
job
were at a
cleaning
nice
this place up.
place.
No, we were at a nice place. Circa is a nice
Right.
place.
I know.
You walk
Right.
anywhere outside of the 14 exits out of this place,
Yeah.
and all
That's
hell
dicey.
has broken loose. I'm going to write a letter to the mayor because she is really, really screwing up down here. I don't even know if she's still the mayor. I'm just really glad I live in the beautiful state of Florida, Drew. And speaking of that, Drew, you want to tell your biggest Vegas fail of the weekend? I got a text from Drew today.
Oh, yeah. So we go out to Las Vegas. One of the things, I would say probably the most important thing, is to make sure to sign up for the contest. I get out there and like the first day, I don't link up with Brett. The second day, it's like, oh, I think I missed it because I was late getting to the pool. And then towards the end, I just got sick and I ended up, guys, at the last minute, I was going to stay in Vegas another 2 days and then go to San Diego, watch the Marlins and the Padres. But I was just like so kind of sick. I couldn't even talk. And like just alluding to, I was getting kind of just sick of Las Vegas for some reason. I look on the internet, I get a flight like 4 hours later, and I just head to the airport. And so I forgot to sign up for the contest. So it put me in a little bit of a bind.
I text everybody. I was like, hey, guys, don't forget, tweet about Winter Circle Proxy Service. Say thank you to Brett, whatever. Give him some pub. And Drew goes, I forgot to sign up. I'm like, are you kidding me? So anyway, Drew's entry is going to be Kelly in Vegas 6, if you guys want to follow him throughout the season.
You didn't even need to find Brett. That area that you rolled into with your bowl of clam chowder on Thursday, Aaron was down there all weekend. I went back 3 times and got more entries for God knows what reason, because I'll probably finish 20th in Survivor again and make $0 like I have the last 2 years with CT. But yeah, I just kept going down for more entries. She was right there the whole time. So easy. That's why you should use Winner Circle. Chris, we're going to win it this year. I really feel like calling it right here on episode 1 of The Hustle. We're going to win Survivor this year.
Fighting about our entry. Last year,
well, you have
Chris
rules.
and
I don't have rules, Kel. You have rules. We have no rules. Just try to find the winner.
I've already started working on my spreadsheet in some of my downtime in between doing some wager talk stuff, in between doing Kelly and Murray. I'm doing now 7 survivors, which is excessive amount. That's just stupid. But anyway, some people are going to follow my rules. Some people are not. Chris, I'm not giving Chris any rules. Chris, I don't care about the rules. Ariel and Pam have rules. John Murray's going to have rules. Me and my buddy Chad are going to have rules. Johnny Detroit actually texted me today. I go, hey, do I need to get another survivor first? He's like, no, I'm doing it on my own this year. Because Johnny and I have, this is how Johnny and I went out the last 3 years. Last year, week 1, he and I's entry. The year before that was a Steelers-Lions tie. The year before that was Ravens. Yeah, Ravens week like 16 or 17 is 13.5 point favorites. And he's like, I'm doing it by myself. I'm done. You're bad luck. I'm like, okay, great.
2 years ago, CT and I went out with the Jaguars. There's like a 6-point favorite. What a disaster.
He was ready to murder you over that. I don't know whose pick that was, but like, I remember that one. He and I went out last year on Packers. He was like, you say you don't bet road teams. I'm like, it's a neutral site. Packers in London.
That's right.
9.5 point favorites over the Giants. They're up 14.5.
Trig, I got to say, man, we've been pretty damn close. The last 2 years, we've been alive with less than 20 people left in our survivors. So hoping to keep it going with you. Kelly, I axed our entry down to 1, and now you tell me we have no rules. But that's the best news I've heard all day. Drew, I got one tidbit for you. The contest that you like, the Golden Nugget one, and the one you cashed in last year, be happy that you didn't sign up for that one, because Joe Ranieri and I were going to sign up for that one as partners, and we were going to play Zeno and Brian Power in a side match for $0.10 each. When we went to sign up, Aaron, who works for Winner's Circle Proxy Service, told us, she goes, guys, don't even bother signing up for that. I think there's about 60 people signed up so far, and I'd be shocked if there was 200 to 300 people. Unfortunately, Drew, that contest has kind of died. The ones to be in are the Westgate and Circa. I know you like that one, Drew, but just wanted to throw that out there. If you want Kelly to sign you up, go for Westgate, go for Circa. And like Trig said, there's nothing better than Winner's Circle Proxy Service. Best in the business. Only way to go when you're signing up for the contest. They have the best deadlines. They'll give you the best service. Everything's very accessible online. Put your picks in. They send you a screenshot. Or you don't even need a screenshot anymore. They did away with that because you see it right there on your computer. You get a confirmation email. Only way to go. So thank you to them. Sponsor the show.
I second that.
Babysitter.
Well said. Yeah, I've used Winner's Circle Proxy for 6-7 years now. Never had a problem. Guys, check them out if you do need a proxy service. Absolutely. But CT Bets, I'll come back to you. And Kelly, you might know better about this than me. I know Golden Nugget has minimums that they pay out. So the less people, doesn't it actually make it, you want to do it more? Because you'll get more money back?
You can ask CT. I honestly don't know. So here's kind of where Vegas is starting to have a shift from my understanding. So I have not done the proxy service. This will be my third year not doing it. Obviously, when I got hired by ESPN, I had to give up everything else, which is why Kelly and Murray originally went away. Then when I was with Barstool said you can't promote any other sports books. That was part of my contract. So it was just like, okay, so I just handed the reins over to Brett and Aaron. Now my girlfriend Brittany's involved. Now Brett's got other business partners that are even involved. So the proxy game and business has really started to grow. I'm kind of jealous. I'm not going to lie. But that being said, I have not looked at the Golden Nugget rules. I do know that they went away with their app, which makes it more difficult for proxies because then they have to go down 3 days a week to the Golden Nugget. So that might have been why Aaron told you not to enter, because it's a pain in the ass for somebody to come all the way downtown, park, walk to the Golden Nugget, because of course parking is not free anymore in Las Vegas. It can kind of be a headache, but I have not checked their rules and I haven't asked. But I was going to cruise over there tomorrow, do some recon for you, sign up if you wanted me to, because what's nice about it, and I will say this, and I wish somebody would, maybe I can get Superbook Sports on board. We need a good college contest, right? Like we just do.
Agreed.
And the nice thing about the Nugget contest is that if you had, like, let's just say 1 or 2 best bets in NFL and played 5 college, or you could play 7 college, or you could, if you love the NFL card that week, you could play 4 NFL and 3 college. That's where I do like the format of that contest, but there's not a lot of backing behind it, right? Like we know Circus throws boatloads of money into commercials, things like that. Westgate, Superbook out here in Las Vegas, you can actually sign up, on the app, but you still have to go in person, like because of the gaming laws, right? With all these things, that's why you still have to have a proxy. We were kind of hoping years ago that Nevada would alter their laws, right? So like new states, Tennessee, New Jersey, all these places that never really had like casinos, it was really easy for them to write their gaming laws for 2023. Nevada sometimes is still in the 60s, like if we're being honest. And so mobile is like a whole new thing. It's kind of similar, actually, to kind of what's going on in Florida, Drew, with the Seminole tribe, where the arguments are, okay, yes, you have to be at the casino to place a wager, but the servers for the mobile betting are at the casino, right? Like there's like these weird little loopholes for certain states. And unfortunately, Nevada is not one of them. Golden Nugget getting rid of their app was pretty painful. And I think that is going to ultimately hurt their contest, even with locals, because still having to come down and submit your picks in person is just kind of archaic.
Yeah, and it makes it tougher on the proxy for sure. But I agree with you. The format is the thing I like the most. And I just thought that they just didn't put anything into marketing, but who really cares, especially if they have a minimum payout. Yeah.
Like when Matt Humans and I did a show at the Golden Nugget every single week, we'd hang out with Tony Miller, who I absolutely adore. We'd do a show with him. We'd promote different guys that were in the contest doing well. And it just kind of went away when Matt and I left the Review Journal. So that free kind of pub is just no longer for them. And it's kind of an unfortunate thing because, the casino And that's the difference between Circa and Superbook Sports, right? So Superbook Sports is inside the Westgate, but it's its own entity. So it has its own marketing dollars, right? Circa, because Circa, the hotel, owns Circa Sports, and Derek, the owner, literally is at Mega Bar sitting there, like 5 days a week, shaking people's hands. Like that's an old school way of doing things. And Golden Nugget just really doesn't have that, right? They have an owner that has a ton of money, and the sports book is this big because they care about slots. They care about blackjack players. They care about people losing thousands of dollars at the table. Sports gambling, with all of the overhead that you see some of these casinos have, just gets weighted down. Like, if you look at the list of Nevada month by month, and it's like, how did casino operators do, right? Penny slots is always number one. Sports is almost hardly ever even in the top 10. Like maybe September during football season, you see a big push before everybody degens out and loses their bankroll. But those are just real things. And to fly all the way to Las Vegas to enter a contest and not have somebody be able to put picks in for you every week is definitely a detriment.
Yeah, I missed out on signing up for that one, but hey, good story, I guess. And when I got on the plane and I realized I didn't sign up, that was pretty frustrating for sure, Kelly. So yeah, that's the story.
Don't worry, Drew. I'm right across the street. You can just be Kelly in Vegas. If you lose, I'll tell everybody it was your entry. But if you win, I'll be there with the giant check. Okay.
Sure. And let us know in the comments below if Kelly's signing me up. And there's 7 picks. Kelly, like, what should I do? 6, you do 1, and you kind of get like I don't know, free 15% if we actually win it or something like that. Does that sound fair?
And then I could probably get your proxy fee waived because I tell them it's my entry. We won't tell Brett's business partners that.
That's a win-win for sure.
And Martin bets. I love that. We'll talk after the show. I know these guys are sick of hearing about what a miserable time we had in Las Vegas.
Sure. And it sounds like you can hear it a little bit in all of our voices. But CT, you seem to make it out the best out of all of us, and you came in hating Vegas the most, man. So I don't know. Anything on that? You want to kick us off with any week 0 action?
Sure, Drew. And want to know what? No, I finally just started to feel better today, and it was just in time because our uncle Benny, just arrived at my house today in Swampscott, Massachusetts, as a present to me to make me start feeling terrible again for the next 4 days.
Chris, make sure they know that he was in Vegas with us as well. So he has now come from Vegas to your house, essentially.
He was in Vegas with us, and Drew, my voice.
Tell Uncle Ben he's welcome. I won't tell any of his secrets from Barry's Steakhouse.
My voice is starting to get back to normal, Drew, but I was hurting Monday through Wednesday. But Drew, if you want to kick things off, I don't know. We kind of just said we were kind of going to do free flow this year, but I did have a game outside of a best bet that I bet that I'd love to give out if you want.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. How are you feeling about this week 0? What's your plans with Benny on Saturday? And what's the action we're giving out to the Hustle listeners?
Well, usually I don't have much on week 0. Usually it's one game. And last year, Kelly was very happy with me because I gave out Northwestern, and that was the only game she bet week 0. And we ended up cashing that. But our plans for this week 0 is Benny and I are going to the Encore Sportsbook because we haven't been at a sportsbook in a little while, right? So we're going to go back and we're going to drink some Vivas, and we're meeting up with the 98.5 guys, Dan Lifshatz, Joey Murr, Sammy P. We're all going to be there drinking Vivas.
Is Michael coming with you guys?
No, Michael, thankfully, will not be there. And hopefully
Dan told me he was like good friends with him. And I'm like, he's kind of a shitty person. I don't know why you would associate with that guy.
Hopefully for Michael's sake, he doesn't show up. So that would be very, very, very bad for Michael, Cal.
I heard he gets really bad social anxiety in those types of situations. So I think you're in the clear, CT.
Perfect. Yeah, we didn't want to have to deal with him anyways because I know he can't take speaking in public and deal with the crowd, so that's good. But Drew, the game that I wanted to talk about is actually Hawaii at Vandy. It's been a game that I haven't heard too many people talk about on radio this week and on different shows. And around this time last year, Drew, Vanderbilt blew out the brains in the brains in the Hawaii Rainbows and down in Waikiki. That was Timmy Chang's first game calling the shots on the island, and it was a really tough season for the Bows. But I think this go around this weekend might be a little bit different. The Bows get back the trigger man, Braden Shager. He sucked at the start of last year under the new concept of what Chang was going with, but it seemed to click for him for a little bit the last couple of games. The defense was awful for the Rainbows, but they get back a ton of starters this year on defense. I think they're going to be more experienced, a lot better. And yeah, I'm sure people are sitting there saying, CT Clark Lee has done an exceptional job with this Commodores team. He's completely bought in. I totally agree with that. Dedicated everything to building this program, and it's showed off, right? It's paid off. Last year they got some great upset wins. I think they beat Kentucky and Florida towards the end of last year. But with that being said, Drew, I know you remember all this stuff because you like kind of the smaller schools. Not that Vanderbilt's a smaller school, Drew. We're still talking about the SEC, but I know you'll remember the trigger man for Vanderbilt, and that was Mike Wright, and he was a great quarterback. And Mike Wright has since transferred over to Miss State, and he's not the trigger man for the Commodores anymore. And Swan has to take over. Not too much experience, has a tough time throwing the ball at times. Bottom line is this, Drew. It's a very emotional game for the Rainbows with the terrible tragedies going down there on the island. I think they want some revenge from last year. I think Timmy Chang's going to have his team more focused, more dialed in, more built into the systems, if you will, Drew. And I think 17.5 is a little too many. I think the Bows could stay within the number.
Yeah, CT. I mean, I like the breakdown. Didn't they cover 5 of their last 6 down the stretch after the bye week last year with a first-year quarterback? That's something to bet on. And Hawaii high school football
really well.
Yeah. That seems to be like a bet on coming into the offseason, man. This is one of those games where I think actually both teams are going to be improved, but that might mean more for the underdog. Plus the fact we got these like Maui Fires. I don't know if that's a bet on or a bet against with what's going on in Hawaii. Like, is that win for,
It's a different island, Drew. So it's not that it doesn't affect people, but it is a different island, right? So that was Maui. This is Honolulu. So I do think like Hawaiians typically are very close knit. So I'm sure it was, but
sure.
Given that it's been now a couple of weeks, you can have your team maybe a little more focused. I don't think it's a detriment necessarily anymore, but yeah, you'd like to think that they're going to go out and play hard for their state.
That's what I think, Kel. I think it's going to bring them together even more. Like, I know it's a different island, but I think, let's go out there and let's give something for the state of Hawaii to kind of cheer for and kind of embrace. So 17.5 is a lot. Kelly, you and I were talking about this in Vegas.
Well, remember last year, everybody's going to think last year, what happened? They got the doors blown off of them, right?
The line was also 1.
Yep.
The line was also 1, right? And yeah, absolutely. Yep. They absolutely smashed their doors in. So now they're thinking, okay, Vanderbilt are going to blow their doors in again. I was talking to Dan Lifshatz today, and he told me a stat, and I'll botch it, but it's something like Vandy hasn't covered a double-digit spread in something like 5 years plus, something like that. So now you're going to trust Vanderbilt
have you
lay
seen
17.
Chris, have you seen the pictures of their stadium? It's like in complete disarray. I can't believe they're going to play football there. Like, it's an embarrassment.
It's insane. It looks like a war zone.
Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the whole end zones is like completely torn up. The field was like rolled up in one of the ends because they're trying to expand. It's like, which engineer decided this was a good idea this close to football season?
Yeah, I think it's going to take a long time for like it will
Apparently
go into
2025.
Yeah, it's $300 million they're spending.
They could probably just play at Nissan Stadium if anyone would show up, but that would be an awfully empty.
That's the thing is nobody's going to show up, so it doesn't matter. And I guess that was where I was going full circle was how many people are going to come to this stadium that's in complete disarray. I don't know.
And I think they're going to have less than 30,000 like capacity. So, in terms of a home field advantage, that might be at least in a game like this, because I was also thinking, when they play a team like Georgia or Tennessee at home, where it's like half of the stadium is filled with the opponent in the SEC, it actually might turn out to be a good thing for Vanderbilt. But in a situation like this, maybe not so much. But hey, love the breakdown there, CT. Week 0 action, Vanderbilt and Hawaii. So that's what you're going with, Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors plus the 17.5.
Correct. That would be my quote-unquote big game breakdown for season 3, episode 1 of The Hustle, Drew.
All right, and Blue likes it too. The dogs are barking. Week 0 here, college football.
Those are my dogs, but that's I'm sure Blue's hanging out with Uncle Benny.
That loud. I mean, Blue can bark, but good grief.
I think someone came to the door. I'm finally in the new house, so I'm actually home. I used to go down to the factory that my fiance's family owns. So, like, I had a little office set up there, but now I'm in the house. So you know what? Gonna get an occasional barking dog, but we love those on this show.
Factory. It was way better for your handicapping baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I need to go back to last year for that, Cal. To be honest with you, it has not been a great baseball season, but hopefully we get it back in football. Like I'm due all of that positive regression in football. That's how it's supposed to work. So,
supposed to work. I hope it works for you because I'm due.
Korean baseball's been going well. Well. Just
all the stuff I don't bet. AAA baseball, Korean baseball. Do you know how hard it is to find AAA baseball anywhere?
I know.
Like,
That's why I'm over. I just bet a game for you on your account, like while you were talking a second ago. Got it. That's what I was doing over here.
Oh, wow. That was really nice of you. Wow.
Thanks, Triggy. Thank you.
She lets me bet on one of her accounts, and I give her a free roll. That's how it works. Because it's hard to get down.
Really well a couple weeks ago.
It did. It's been going pretty well. She hasn't paid me anything yet. She's only just got her portion. So
that's how free roll works, guys. For those keeping track at home.
So Trig, you like any big game breakdown week 0, or are we going over Korean baseball or?
No, I mean, well, I do like some week 0 stuff. I actually have a 5%er week 0, which is rare for me, but there's a game I like quite a bit. Drew, I can talk a week 0 game. I've got some NFL preseason. I mean, I'll do week 0, but I don't necessarily want to replicate what I did on the football show earlier. So you tell me, what do you want to hear about week 0 football or NFL preseason? Because I'm ready to fire.
How about you guys drop in the comments what you want to hear from Trig, and I will. I'll do mine really quick, just because it's easy. I gave it out already on Kelly and Murray, so if you listen to Kelly and Murray, you know what it is.
All right.
There we go. Okay, we'll go back to Trig here in a minute.
Real quick. I mean, I'm not going to break that one down. I agree with CT Betts there. I thought he did a great job breaking it down. It's exactly how I would see it as well. So, moving on.
I decided the new rule I'm making this year, and we're not doing when it gets to your turn. I gave it out on bet on it. I gave it out on JM and Murray. We're not doing that shit. Okay. So when it's your turn, you speak, because there's a lot of people that are fans of The Hustle that don't listen to the other shows.
No, but that's all I'm saying. If you happen to listen,
let's go.
If you happen to listen to Bet on It or Kelly and Murray, you've already heard it. That was all I was getting ready to say. It is UTEP. While Dana Dimmel is a bane of my existence in his time as defensive coordinator in Manhattan, Kansas, he's done a really good job with this UTEP team. They were +1. I got him as a pick'em. Pretty much 1.5 on the Wager Talk odds screen, it looks like. I know a lot of people are really excited for JMU to join into the FBS, no longer in the FCS. And there's a lot of hype around them, right? But guess who their coach is? One of my favorite lovable losers, Rich Rodriguez. And I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to pan out for him, right? So in the FCS, we know that there's a couple of teams that are just right on the fringe. And they are now going to start letting them in. So Sam Houston State, Jacksonville State, both got to move up this year. It's kind of like soccer, apparently. And it's just like how I'm going to relegate Trig if the Blue Jays lose tonight. I just don't know where I'm going to put them yet. But that being said, I do like this UTEP defense, and that is why I am backing this team. I know Jacksonville State brings in a ton of real good talent, and they've got a nice, fast, up-tempo offense. but this defense should be able to stifle that, should be able to smother them. I like UTEP here. It could get a little out of control, but as John Murray always likes to tell me, games don't land one, so we should be in business.
Is that JM quote, games don't land one? What's that based on? Is that just kind of like a joke or?
So like when we started Kelly and Murray years ago, he'd be like, because here's the problem. The sharp plays always move. Well, of course they do. That's why they're sharp. Just like when Trig texts me, hey, take the Browns over in preseason, take over 38. I log into my account 30 seconds later, and it's 41 and a half. And I'm like, hey, thanks, Trig.
That moved real quick, but yeah.
But that's the problem. When certain people bet, they're respected enough that the bookmakers do their job and move the number off of it, particularly totals. So this one did open +1, UTEP +1. It was the first time I saw it. Was pick 'em pretty much all last week. Now it's getting some steam here, and I still like the Miners, but the games don't land one was a John Murray reference, because now every time a game lands one, which is almost once a week in the NFL, it's pretty funny.
Okay.
Can I jump in though and explain real quick why I think the info is still important? So listen, yes, basically anything that was hit, sharp, respected is going to move a little bit, right? So maybe you don't want to play it at the new number, but it's still valuable information to have, because and here's an example. Kelly just talked about UTEP getting hit by sharp money. Let's just, you jot that down. Maybe you can play it, maybe you can't, whatever. Same thing with totals and teams that get hit in, NFL. What you can do is take that information with you to the next week, because what happens often is, let's say that team got hit by sharp money, did not cover. A lot of times it's going to be a sharp side again next week if the conditions are correct. So maybe they missed, but next week that same side is playing another overvalued side. They're probably going to come right back with it, in which case you can just front run that and get down as soon as the line's open. Maybe before they bet it. It's not foolproof. It's not always going to work, but I guarantee you, if you take notes about what got played by respective groups, even if you can't bet it that week, it's going to help you down the line. It's great to know that, hey, they've targeted this team 3 times in the first 5 weeks of the season. Maybe that helps you out in week 7 or week 8. So there's other value to the info other than just okay, well, now I've got to take a number that's 2 points worse, when in reality, a lot of times, I'll give you a perfect example. This week, NFL preseason, yeah, maybe you can't get the total in at 38, but let's say there's a drive in that game. First drive goes midfield and they have to punt. Pull up your sports book. You're probably going to get a 38 live, right? And then you got the same number one drive into the game. Maybe you couldn't get on Browns -2 when it got hit back up to 3.5. Just play the money line and play it smaller. Your risk amount is fine. It's the same. They win, you win. There might even be a scenario where it lands one. I didn't even set that up, but it could land one. You could hit and they could lose. The point is, you're just taking the information. Use your brain. Don't put yourself in a bad spot where they could win and you could lose, and you're going to be fine. That's how you use the sharp info.
Drew, let me jump in real quick. Johnny Detroit just texted me from our friends at Killer Sports, their database. Vanderbilt, in their last 46 games as a favorite of 9 or more, 19-27. That's 41.3%. And they've lost 7 of those outright.
You think that carries over a bunch? That's a good stat.
It's gross. That's gross. They're just not. They're fine. They blew out Hawaii last year. They could blow out Hawaii again, but history's on your side at least to say, hey, listen, this team is not built to blow teams out.
Yeah, that's a good stat. I like that one. Johnny Detroit sending it over mid-show. Shout out to him. Watching live, guys, here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Smash that like button if you're liking the content, and comment below any of the questions we've thrown out so far. All is welcome. Check out wagertalk.com for the free picks. Just use the free tab. And remember, we're brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Remember, it's not just a drink, it's a statement. Embrace the vibes, own the winning mindset, and let's live it up. Viva Tequila Seltzer, raising a toast to cash those tickets cheers to have those Viva vibes. Not sure if this is going over well with the voice, but trying the best here. And it looks like Trig, with the chat, we got more votes for NFL is what I'm seeing. But dude, feel free to go wherever you're going.
All right. So first, I want to invite CT to co-do this one with me because I know this is one of his plays. And our producer said there was people that wanted New Mexico State and UMass, and I know Chris has an opinion on it, and it's a good point to follow up. So listen, there's the sharp stuff does not always win. I think that's like a misconception that just because there's a sharp action on something that it's a guaranteed winner. And this game clearly got bet by sharp money. They took UMass from 10 all the way down to 6.5. If you disagree with that, it's almost just as good as getting the good number early, right? Like you can come back, and in Chris's case, he likes New Mexico State. I agreed with him. You can play New Mexico State minus 6.5 at a great number right now if that's how you see it, and that's kind of how I see this one. I understand why they're betting UMass, and there's a position to be taken on UMass. I think the reason is that UMass could not possibly be worse than they were last year. They were 1-11, a terrible team, had no offense, and now Tyson Pumachan is going to be their quarterback. He could be a playmaker. Like there's definite upside there, without question. Defense was pretty good. So there's a lot of upside with that team. Makes sense why people would want to take a position on them as an underdog right out of the gate. The problem is, and this is where I totally agree with Chris, he said it last week on the show, New Mexico State kind of, did that last year, right? Like they ended up winning 6 games, got to a bowl game, beat Bowling Green, Jerry Kill's first season, proven coach, and they bring back a lot. Like they bring back their quarterback, they bring back all of their running backs, some of their offensive line, and now this game is in Las Cruces. So I'm not seeing it either, and this is where I'll throw it over to Chris to fill in the blanks here. I would, especially now, 6.5. There's no way to take UMass at this point. I could only lay it with New Mexico State at that number. Chris, what else do you have to add there?
Yeah, I mean, I was given this as my best bet for the show. Again, I touched on it last week, but yeah, I agree, Trig, and I'm looking at the screen now, and I was a little happy to see that a little more money came in on New Mexico State. It popped up to 7 pretty much everywhere across the board. So that made me feel a little bit good there. And yeah, there's no way. I know some sharp money came in on UMass early in the summer, right? But now, a couple days ago, UMass gets popped at 7.5. Every sharp friend and person I know is on UMass. Every single one. And you know what? I see the games. I watch the games just like everybody else does. I'm in Boston. I talk to some beat writers up here. I just don't see it with UMass. They just keep on taking money. And, I'm just not a believer here. I know they got a couple good transfers with the quarterback that couldn't hack it at Clemson and Georgia Tech. They brought in a wide receiver. I think it was Pope from the U who couldn't hack it down there. I know Don Brown is a defensive-minded coach. Trig, I just don't see it. It's in New Mexico. It's going to be about 100 degrees. They got to travel across country. And you're going to let me lay a touchdown here with Pavia, a kid that's shown a ton of life at the end of last year, the trigger man from New Mexico State, and Jerry Kill. Kel and I talk about him all the time. Great coach. So I don't need to go any further. I talked about it last week, but New Mexico State is my best bet for the show this week. Minus 7, minus 6.5. I popped more when it went down there. So that's my bet.
And you guys are gonna love this. So CT and I are in a college football regular season win pool with a bunch of other guys from Wager Talk, and we're just like dying. Like we're in like the mud of like, okay, who can win 3 or 4 games like at this point? And he's like, you know what, Cal? I think New Mexico State can maybe win 5 or 6 games, get back to a bowl game. And I'm like, no, God, it's gonna be so gross. And then I looked and I was like, well, they're at least gonna win this one game, right? Like. That's like we're going to win week 0 and start off on a great college football note. And hopefully for CT, they also cover.
Kelly, how did that kind of draft go with with Ralph and Kenny and them, but
a lot better than I expected. Because Ralph
Yeah.
was like, okay, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, and like it was like I had to be like, hey guys, mute your mic. Like you hear everybody's background noise. It is like a headache. I'm trying to post to the Wager Talk Instagram. I'm getting texts about the Kelly and Murray show. I'm trying to do my regular job at Wager Talk, and I'm like, CT, I just get him on the phone. I just I turn off my camera, I mute it, and I'm like, we're talking this way. I can care less about them. It was fine, but I could have been a disaster. Just could have been an absolute utter disaster because it was just, a lot of sports bettors, mid-afternoon, lots of other things going on. And we only tried to draft a team that had already been drafted, like what, Chris, twice?
Yeah, we were twice. There were people that tried to do that 4 or 5 times. So
Yeah, and oh, by the way, our producer, Joe Ranieri, took not only Texas Tech from me, but Miami, and I was really mad.
I'll tell you this, KIV. When Ralph first told me about it, I was thinking about it because it's a cool concept, but then he read the roster of everybody I'd be going up against, and I like entering contests where there's like normal Joes with a 9-to-5 job, And if I'm going to be spending thousands of dollars to get into this, and he was reading the roster, I'm like, that guy knows college football pretty well. So does that guy. So does this girl. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do it.
Just missed the draft altogether. Apparently, he was like getting home from a cruise, so he missed the draft altogether. Andy Isco's pretty sharp; he's in there. Brad Powers in there. Me and CT, obviously, are in there. Mark Zetto is in there as well. Who else? CT, who else am I missing? There's some sharp guys in there for sure. But Drew, I think you could have held your own.
Ralph, but there was
Mark
no
Lawrence.
Dead money, is what I'm
Mark
saying.
Lawrence
I like
in there too. You're right.
Mark Lawrence.
Yeah.
There's some sharp people.
Yeah, I should have done it. I'm regretting it now. I should have done it. Ralph asked, and I didn't do it.
On your,
sorry.
Drew, to comment on who's going to be in there, right? So when I looked at the list, I'm like, all right, we'll join. And then obviously, in my personal opinion, I thought Brad Powers, a good friend of ours, had the biggest edge. And so we're drawing the team names to get first pick. Brad Powers gets first pick. And I knew exactly who he's going to take because I would have took the same team. And he fires Georgia. And I'm like, oh, man, we're already losing.
Yeah, CT and I got the 11th pick, so it was nice. We got a couple of teams in the mix. Washington, Penn State, teams I think that can possibly spring a championship. I mean, I do think Penn State's going to win over 9 games. I think Washington's going to win 9 games if they don't lose to some FCS school week 1, like they've done to me in the past. But we did get some really ugly bottom feeders like Cal and New Mexico State. There were some painful ones there at the end because you're just running out of teams.
Everybody gets some brutal ones. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if you're in the smaller, like New Mexico State, you got more of a shot to go up. Like I'd jump on those, the Cals of the world. That's where it gets real rough. I feel like,
especially now that Cal's kind of got like, let's call it something to prove, right? They're one of the only 4 teams left in the Pac-12 for next year. They're going to have to do something if they want to not be relegated to the Mountain West, or I've heard rumblings of the ACC. I highly doubt that as well, but we'll see. I mean, go out there, you win 6 football games in a bowl game. I don't think we get credit for a bowl win, but I'll ask Ralph. I should probably, read the rules.
Can we change the conference names at some point? Like Cal can't be in a conference that's called the Atlantic Coast Conference. It's insane. We need new conference names. Like just name them something else because they're not about geography.
The Big 16.
The Big 18.
Yeah, whatever it's going to be. 16, 18. Why not?
How many teams are in the Big 10 now? Like 14? And then they're going to have 2 more? So the Big 16? I'd have to actually count them all. But
8 and 8, I think. Yeah, with UCLA and USC. I believe you're right. Yeah.
So it's just like kind of one of those things where geography besides the SEC has just been thrown out of the window. Trig's right. Like Cal cannot be in the Atlantic Coast Conference. That doesn't make any sense. But then I'm seeing rumblings of adding SMU, Tulane. I can't remember the third team, but then UConn. I'm like, okay, well, UConn at least is like on the Atlantic coast.
If they're going to go and make 4 massive like super conferences, just name them after like historically great college football players. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just you can't call something the
Michael
ACC
Beasley conference. Like, what do you mean? Like the Reggie
like
Bush,
great
like,
college football players. Like, I don't care. Like, it doesn't have to be them, but like, you know, like icons, coach it, whatever. Just you can't call something the ACC and have Cal in it. That just can't happen. It doesn't make any sense. Cal's on the West Coast. It's the Atlantic Coast Conference. Makes no sense. It's like, it bothers me. As you can see right now, I'm still talking about it.
Vegas Gianni, maybe with the comment of the show here, saying, talking about what should we name them. He said the bigger 10, the huge 10. I like both of those. Like if they actually changed it to that, that'd be good. Guys, we are.
Oh my God, I wish I could tell the huge story right now. Mark Zinno would murder me, but I was at breakfast. I'll give the edited version. I was at breakfast and I am hating life. And I'm eating there, like trying to like take a bite of steak without crying. And it's just me and CT at breakfast, and Zinno walks up and CT's giving him a ration of just absolute shit. And I don't know what they're talking about. And all I hear is CT go, yeah, that's huge. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about now? I just, and then I got the answer to it.
That's one of his catchphrases, you know.
What was so huge, but apparently, as far as men go, that was huge.
All right. Good way to end it here, guys, as we got best bets coming up. We are up against it time-wise. Again, please smash that like button. Huge shout-out to the chat box. A lot of funny comments in here, going back and forth with Alabama and a little War Eagle chant. We got Big Dog saying the Tebow 12. That would be a good name, too. Some funny ones in here. Huge shout-out to all you guys. And comment below what you think the conferences should be called. And from all the questions we've been asking here on the show, go check out vivatequilaseltzer.com. Hustle 20 at checkout takes 20% off of your order. Check out Viva, guys. It is good. Zero sugar. We got 4.5% ABV. Viva, the perfect match for celebrating your cashed tickets. vivatequilaseltzer.com. Hustle 20 at checkout. Wagertalk.com right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. Best bets coming up. I guess my big game breakdown, I would go to the first game up, Navy and Notre Dame. We got at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. It is across the pond in Ireland, guys. And do note, it is a night game there, and it looks like it's going to be rain in the forecast. Navy, they might be throwing it a little bit more this year, but still an option team at heart. They like to shorten the game. They're up against it, a big underdog. We get a total of 49.5 now, the widely available number. Notre Dame bringing in a new system, new quarterback. I do think Sam Hartman's going to be good, but if you're going to go against them, it's probably week 0, working in the system. But I'm not going to go against them because I think that there is a chance that they run away with this. I just think it's a shorter game. And the new college football clock rules, it's not going to stop after a first down until the last 2 minutes. That might shorten the game as well. So I like the under of 49.5. Weather might be an issue. And for my big game breakdown, or my best bet, CT already hit on it. It's New Mexico State -6.5. I thought that Trig brought up a good point. This game was actually as high as -11. Now it's 6.5. That's almost a 50% discount, guys, on where you're buying from. Plus, it's also the first game for both of these two teams. So when people say like sharp move, yeah, sure, it's a 5+ point move. It is a sharpish move, but I don't think it's like that big of like rocket science, especially in the beginning of the season. What, they got a new quarterback that was highly recruited. That's what UMass has right now, and they had a better defense. It's that combination. It's that simple. It don't look more deep than that. But to ask them to go, almost across the country here, beat a bowl team, or at least stay within one score of them, it's too much to ask. I mean, we get Jerry Kill here returning the quarterback. CT already talked about it. I think that New Mexico State here is going to start to become a better football program. I actually stopped by there 2 years ago now. Las Cruces is like a sleeper college town. It was a lot of fun. I think that they're going to recruit better. New Mexico State -6.5. It's still available at a key offshore. use Wager Talk Live odds to find it here, guys. So under a touchdown, that's my best bet for the show. New Mexico State, CT Bet 16 on Twitter. Chris Thurston, I know you like it as well, man. I'll throw it over to you for final thoughts for the show, though.
No, final thoughts. As it's good to be back with three of my best friends here. Season 3 of The Hustle, episode 1. We're doing this all the way through March Madness, like always, just a different night and a different time. Thursdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can catch us here. And Drew, my best bet, you and I touched on it all show here. New Mexico State -6.5, -7.
Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, wagertalk.com. Kelly, we need some final thoughts for the show and a best bet.
Drew, I did play that Navy Notre Dame under in Dublin as well. Pretty much 49 across the board here on the Wager Talk odds screen. John Murray gave it out yesterday. He said it was a sharp play under 51. Now, sometimes I get a little weary with totals just because, there are key numbers, and 51 is a key total number. But I do agree with you. I actually would not be surprised to see Navy cover this game, but I have just a couple of thoughts. And this is my concern, right? So we know last year Notre Dame just really struggled, right? Losing Brian Kelly will probably do that to you. And last year, remember, Notre Dame just smacked these guys, right? Because what happened? Last season, I'm thinking too many years ago. Okay, either way, last season, Navy caught Notre Dame off that Clemson W, if you remember, because they almost got the outright win, right? So it was like 35-13.5 or so. I do expect, though, Navy to give their best performance. I kind of have a problem, though, with these early Navy games. We know that these option offenses take time to develop, right? And so these early on games are kind of a concern for me, but I will have Navy circled to be a possibly bet on spot, but I do like the under more. So I'm going to join you on that one. And also, as I mentioned, UTEP pick 'em. It is pretty much 1.5 now across the Wager Talk odds screen. So keep an eye on that. And I guess I have to tail my good friend CT Bets on Vanderbilt. We got lots of good stuff coming up this season on Wager Talk. I'm sorry, on Vanderbilt, Hawaii plus 16.5. Listen, my brain is broken. I have been in Las Vegas, Nevada for a week. I don't know how I'm going to make it to Sunday. I can't even speak. This is my last show. I love you guys. I will see you on Bet On It in 2 weeks. I will see you on Hustle next week. Kelly and Murray's going to be back. If there is something you guys want to see, please tweet me. Put it in the comments section. I try to get involved in the comment section all I can. Something you love, something you hate. I'm your girl. Let me know, and we'll get it either adjusted, fixed, or I'll tell you to fuck off.
At Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, followed by, it's this tough follow here, Trig. Adam Trigger, Top Flight SI on Twitter, wagertalk.com. Trig, what do we got, man?
So like a couple months ago, maybe a month and a half ago, Kel called me up. We were talking about what we were going to do for football season in regards to content. She was like, we were throwing some ideas around and, breaking down games, running through the games of the week and stuff. And I said, Kel, you know what? And I was kind of joking, but I wasn't. I was like, you know what? I just want to break down the absolute shit games each week. The worst games, the ones that no one talks about, garbage teams, 0-7 playing 0-5. I go, give me those games. And so that's exactly what happened. So I'm going to have a show here on Wager Talk, little segment that's going to go out a couple times a week called Garbage Time, where I do just that. And so if you've got games each week, whether it's NFL or college football, that no one else talks about, that you want an opinion on, I'm your guy for that. I'm going to give them to you every week. And the first one I kind of did on the college football show today, and I'll use it as my best bet for a show. I'm also going to keep my record, something that doesn't happen enough on shows. And we'll make sure that that's tracked throughout the season. We'll play everything for one unit just to keep it easy. But my first pick for this series is going to be Florida International plus 11.5. This kind of is the same argument here that we talked about with UMass and New Mexico, right? Like there comes a point where New Mexico State is the value, right? It dipped enough where Chris could go in and take New Mexico State minus 6.5. That's really good value in week 0 where there's not that much else. And of course I've got, a play up for sale. This is the second best thing on the board, in my opinion, where it's at now. 11.5 in this game seems like a lot. It could continue to move. I think there will be buyback at some point if it continues to move. Remember, this opened around 9 a couple of months ago. And it's very like the same argument in relation to Louisiana Tech, I think can be made, that's being made for UMass, right? Like Louisiana Tech was a 3-8 team last year. Not a good football team by any means. Terrible offensive line, horrific defensive line, just a lot not to like there. Now, they went and did some work in the offseason. I'll give them that. They hit the portal hard, completely rebuilt that defense, which was horrific. So, they needed to do something there. And they went out and got Hank Bachmeier, former Boise State quarterback, to be the quarterback. That will improve them right off the top. But the problem is they still haven't played a single game yet. Like, they still have to play together and show me that they can do something before I'm not willing to take double digits against them in the opening week of the season. FIU 2 years ago, 2020 and 2021 were as bad as it gets in college football. 1-11 and 0-5 back in 2020. So 1-16. Butch Davis, see ya. He's out of there. Mike McIntyre comes in with a horrific team last year. Terrible team, dead last in offense, one of the worst defensive teams in the country, and he goes 4-8, which, I mean, that tells me something about McIntyre. That's something to like about him. And so I think, by all accounts, his team is probably a little bit better this year at the very least. Grayson James got to play most of the year last year. Their starting quarterback. He will be the starting quarterback. This year was announced a couple of days ago that he won the starting job. And if you go back to last year's game against Louisiana Tech, it was one of the best games he played all season. FIU actually won in an upset in that game in double overtime, one of their 4 wins. So, man, this got kind of bet up. I get it. Lexington Joseph out for the year for Florida International. That's tough. But again, he's a running back. And on the other side, Marquise Crosby, starting running back for Louisiana Tech, is out. I typically don't put a ton of stock in running backs anyway. I think it's more about the offensive line and whatnot. And there's just enough there. Like, FIU's defense should improve a little bit. I think if James plays okay, their offense could improve. And listen, Louisiana Tech, they've definitely got some skill guys. Like, they could come out and win this game by 30, and I think we'll have to reassess that situation. But all Louisiana Tech is so far is on paper. It's a lot of hype on paper. Are they going to be better? Probably. Could they win this game? They probably should. Are they just going to come out and win by 30 week 1? That's where I have my reservations. So I'm going to take the plus 11.5. I think it's a good number at this point, moving 2.5 points off the opener. And I'll ask the Panthers, the Drew Martin bets. They're right in his backyard. I think he went to a game at that stadium last year. The FIU Panthers to keep it close on Saturday night.
I did. Another game. They stayed within the number against UTSA.
Yeah, they were like a 33-point dog, and I remember betting him, and you were the only person in the stadium grinding at home for me. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. I was like one of 30 people. There was a couple parents there and me just pounding. I don't know what kind of beer it was, but actually, this is for you. It was FIU. They make their own beer. Look at that.
Amazing.
Right on the spot.
I need you to
Florida
just
Man beer, Drew, because whenever I'm back in Florida, I keep getting Instagram ads for Florida Man IPA, and I'm like, who created this?
I might upgrade this to a client play just based on you having that can right on your shelf, ready to go right there. It's just if that's not fate, Drew, I don't know.
I know. Well, my plan was to break down their week 0 game and be like, I'm betting FIU and drink this, but then I'm sick and I'm like, I don't really feel like it, so I'm going to save it for some
Drew,
point.
I'm going to need you to man up between now and Saturday, okay?
We'll see. I might save it for another one, Kelly, but I don't know.
A real weekend of football. I know football's back, but it's really hard to get excited about UTEP and FIU. Let's be real.
I was going to say that.
If you're going to do this with 7 games, make it 7 big kind of good matchups and have a legitimate, hey, this is our kickoff weekend. I know it's tough to do, but this is such an opportunity. Put 7 good games on big networks all day, stagger the starts, and then you have this huge kickoff for college football, and you only have 7 games, but they're staggered and they almost stand alone.
Out of their minds.
Right.
Could you imagine
Right.
if I had to be here for like, I don't know, Alabama, Texas, USC, Notre Dame, like all these like
Right.
Wisconsin playing, I don't know who, but it doesn't matter. Like just big name college football programs that are going to get you absolutely amped. I'm actually really glad they're not doing that. So like, I don't feel bad if I sleep in on Saturday morning, but like in actuality, Trig has hit the nail on the head.
And it's just, who does that, guys? The far better product, college basketball. First night, Duke's playing Kansas. Kentucky's playing Michigan State. And then they have a tournament that everyone's invited to settle it at the end. It's why college basketball owns college football until further notice. If they can figure that out, though, could be close, but is what it
That's
is.
a pretty bold statement. I don't know about better product. I mean,
Drew,
I'll give you this on
Madness,
week 0.
Product.
There's just nothing better than March Madness. I'm sorry. Those first few days, I would skip. Weddings, funerals is the literal greatest.
I would go to a wedding. There you
ever.
go. I would go to a week 0 wedding. That shows you how much I don't care about week 0.
Hey, it's the appetizer. We broke it down for you. CT Bets, Adam Trigger, Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, wagertalk.com, vivatequilaseltzer.com. I am Drew Martin. Smash that like button for us, guys. Comment below. Let us know you watch, and we will be back next Thursday. Until then, cash those tickets. Thanks for tuning in.